Hey everybody, I'm Dr. David B. Franklin, pastor of Incredible Church and president and CEO of a thriving nonprofit in Oakland, California. And I am with my beautiful wife.
I'm Cynthia Franklin. I'm a mental health therapist and I have a private practice called The Couch LLC, and I service people in California and Maryland.
Yes, and we are excited to be with you today to talk about unlocking courage. It's such an important quality, an important skill set, because all of us are going to face some moments in our lives, professionally and personally, that require courage. In fact, courage is really the secret sauce of resilience, right? If you're ever going to overcome obstacles or make it through challenges, we are required to be resilient at different points in our life. And the secret sauce of resilience is courage.
It is. It's so important in order for us to get from, point A to point B in terms of careers and growing. You're going to have be courageous. You always will interface with having to face your areas that you don't have courage in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so one of the ways to think about courage is courage isn't the absence of fear.
It's not.
And I think that's sometimes what we get confused. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's when you choose what matters most, even when you still feel afraid. So I can still feel afraid. I can still even sometimes be worried about what the outcome is going to be. But courage is saying, I'm going forward anyway. And so we want to give you 6 tips, 6 principles that have helped us to be resilient and to exhibit courage in challenging moments in our lives. And the first one is simply this: purpose fuels courage. Purpose fuels courage. If you are going to stay motivated, if you're going to stay committed to the journey, if you're going to be clear and focused when things start to feel confused and intense, you have to know what your purpose is. Like, what are you trying to get to? What goal are you trying to achieve? What is the end picture, the final picture? What does it look like? And that, having that clearly in your mind is what really helps you to have the motivation and the intentionality to exhibit courage. Because without that, it's really hard. I mean, we just moved across the country from Maryland to California,
coast to coast,
to plant a brand new church. And one of the things that we had to face was that there were unknowns and anxieties, but it was the ultimate goal of doing what we feel like God had called us to do that helped us to maintain our courage even in those challenging moments. So point number 1 is purpose fuels courage.
Point number 2 would be to name the fear, right? Naming something sort of gives you it helps you to sort of grab the bull by its horns and look at it in its face. It gives you the ability to sort of label the feelings that come with that as well, right? And when you do that, it relaxes your central nervous system.
That's good.
Right? Because your brain now has a relationship with this thing, and it's like, oh, it's not that scary, and it's not in the dark anymore. Okay, we can sort of look at it in different angles. And so it's so important for us to name it so that we can tame it.
I love it. Okay. Name it so you can tame it. That's right. And that helps. What I heard you say is it helps to center you.
It does.
And to settle you.
Yes. It
does.
It,
I love it.
Yeah, it grounds you.
Yeah. So purpose fuels courage. Name it and tame it. Here's the third one I would give, and that is the micro dare mindset. Any large task is comprised of small micro steps. And it's important, if you're going to get to that large goal, that you break it down into those micro steps so that it feels so more manageable and not so overwhelming. And so I want to challenge you. This is what the dare part is about. I want to challenge you to have a micro dare mindset that before you go to bed, you're going to accomplish one of those steps. It could be as simple as sending a text message to someone you want advice from. It could be completing a proposal. Like whatever that small step is that will get you towards your goal before you go to bed tonight, I want you to accomplish it. remove the anxiety, remove the overanalyzation, right? And just move forward and do it. And I guarantee you, if you do that consistently over even a week, you will have progressed towards your goal much more than staying in that space of fear and anxiety.
Yeah, and it kills procrastination.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Which feeds into the fear and anxiety because it feels like you're not doing things. And so, it's so important that you focus on the micro, so then, each step is going to lead you to your, the bigger goal that you have for yourself. Yeah. Yeah. The fourth step, that you and I talked about was, having a reset, right? It's so important for us to sort of have a tool in our back pocket for when we feel dysregulated, because when you're dysregulated, it's hard to think of tools or to think of things that we go to when we are stressed out. And so one of the tools that we use even for our own family, ourselves and for our kiddos, is box breathing. So what that looks like is inhaling. So you inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, inhale 4, exhale, hold 4, and exhale 4. And obviously you can look up some of these tools on YouTube, so they have guided tutorials on doing, there's a plethora of them online, but it's so important that we regulate our central nervous system when we are in a state of anxiety or in a state of fear, because we don't think when our brain doesn't have oxygen. So definitely something that's really important to have mastery over.
I love that. Yeah. And it works for our boys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it works
and
for
ourselves.
Yes, and for us too. Yes. All right. Purpose fuels courage. Name it and tame it. Micro dare mindset. Adopt that. Have yourself a 60-second reset. And here is principle number 5. Failure is feedback, not defeat.
Yeah.
Failure is feedback, not defeat. Failure is your personal R&D department, your research and development department. It helps you to understand what needs to be changed, what needs to be adjusted, when do you need a different strategy, how do you need to correct your previous steps or your previous plan, right? Failure is feedback, not defeat. It's so important to not only know that, but to actually live that when you are in the most challenging moments of your life. Because if you are able to do that, what you will discover is that you don't have to be embarrassed about failure. Right. Instead, you can actually develop a new prototype for whatever the goal is that you're trying to reach because of that failure. In fact, sometimes you can't reach your goal until you have failed enough so that you have learned what's required to really get to the ultimate goal.
Yeah, there's tweaking involved in the failure. Yeah.
Iteration.
Absolutely.
Being agile.
Absolutely.
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 Okay.
Very good.
So we've got one last one.
We do.
This is the golden ticket.
It's the golden ticket.
And you have it. Go for it. Celebration. Celebrate the wins.
It's so important for us to celebrate micro wins, because there's like a reward system in our brain. And it helps us to also have, like, if you had like a brave jar where you write down the things that you have conquered, you write down the things that you have done scared, whether sometimes it doesn't work out, right? But I would hope most times that it does work out, but write them down anyway. And you'll see, like, I can do hard things. Like, look at this jar, it's filling up, and even just having a mental picture of it, if you don't have the jar in your office or you're not at home, it's so important for us to encourage ourselves in that way. And it helps you to really be able to remind yourself, like I can, if I continue doing these small things, like you were saying earlier, ultimately, when the big things come, you'll be ready because you'll have learned the things that you needed to learn in order to get to the place that you needed to get, which is the bigger thing. So that is the hope that we have for you.
Those are our 6 principles. Yeah. If you can't remember all of them, go back and watch this a few times, but we want to leave you with where we started. Yeah. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It is choosing what matters most, even when you still feel afraid. So may you walk with that. We're rooting for you. We're believing God's best for you. And we know that the future is bright.
Courage over comfort. Yeah.